Hello and welcome to the next installment of the Fire and Steel Thanksgiving Special. And today, we're cooking sweet potatoes. And because we're cooking sweet potatoes, it's very important to have a nice sharp knife. Otherwise, you do run a very good risk of hurting yourself. So, in just a second, you'll see all the ingredients on screen right now to make maple Sriracha candied sweet potatoes. It's a very simple dish, it doesn't have a lot of ingredients, and it's great to throw together last minute if you need to bring something to a Thanksgiving dinner or you need another side dish for a Thanksgiving dinner. So first thing we're going to do is go ahead and get our sweet potatoes all cut up. Here I've got a nice little workstation set up, bowl for the pieces to go in, and a cutting board for all the scraps. The first step is to peel the sweet potatoes. This can be a bit of a challenge, as I've said in the beginning. They're very hard and can be, if you don't have good knives, you're going to have a hard time dealing with sweet potatoes. So go ahead and cut off the ends. This gives you a nice flat base in which to stand the sweet potato up on, and then it's kind of like peeling a watermelon. Just kind of go straight down the sides. Obviously, you want to reduce the amount of waste that you have, the amount of usable flesh that comes off with the skin, but at the same time, sweet potatoes, again, are quite unruly. I will show you another way to peel sweet potatoes that I don't recommend if you're not somewhat skilled with a knife. It does waste less of the sweet potato itself, but it is inherently much more dangerous. You'll see why in just a second. And here I'm just kind of cleaning up all the little bits and bobs at the end. So this starts the same. We'll cut off the ends, kind of gives us a flat starting point to work with. And then this is kind of a style of tourneing, and you can see I'm using my thumb to kind of scoot the knife forward. Again, this is very dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. I'm doing it to show people that it's possible and how you could do it, but it's not something I would recommend if you don't have a good sharp knife and you're not comfortable working with a knife in that way. With the sweet potatoes all peeled, the next step is going to be to split them. So roll the potato around until you find a nice flat spot where it's not going to move too much on you while you're trying to cut it in half. And then push the tip of the knife straight through and then just lever down and cut through the entire potato. Hold it firm with your offhand and then slide the blade down across the cutting board. This will ensure that you cut the potato all the way in two. Next, take the split sweet potato halves and cut them into about 1-inch slices. It's important to make sure the pieces are fairly large. Sweet potatoes, when they do fully cook and finally get tender, become very soft. So if the pieces are small, they'll just kind of turn into mush. With the pieces all cut up, this is a good time to check to make sure that the vessel that you're going to be cooking them in is the right size. This also frees up your bowl to use for something else. So we're just going to go ahead and just load almost all the ingredients in. So it's about 1 cup of brown sugar. And for seasoning, the best way I could tell you to season these is to think about seasoning each sweet potato individually. So here I grabbed about what I would consider to be 1 sweet potato worth of salt and pepper, and then put that in 3 times. The next ingredient is going to be some good maple syrup. Make sure it's good maple syrup, not some corn syrup with brown and butter flavor in it. It's a little bit more expensive, but it'll taste a lot better in the end. It's about 1 cup of maple syrup as well. And then the secret ingredient is the Sriracha. Now, you don't want this to be spicy. This isn't supposed to be like a Thai-inspired sweet potato dish. The Sriracha brings just a very faint amount of heat and a little bit of savoriness. Again, you don't want spicy sweet potatoes, you just want enough to let you know it's just barely there. So get all the ingredients mixed together, put your sweet potatoes back in the bowl, and then toss evenly to coat. With all the sweet potato pieces coated in that flavorful, I guess we'll call it a braising liquid, go ahead and just pack them back into your oven-safe pan. Doesn't need to be covered. And then we're going to add the last ingredient, which is the butter. I just want to take the butter. You want to cut it into fairly small pieces. Here I quarter the half stick of butter and then just slice it into small pieces. So with the sweet potatoes all prepped, we'll park them in the oven. We're going to cook this in a few stages. The first one is going to be for 45 minutes, 325 degrees. And the reason we're doing this in multiple stages is because in between each cooking cycle, we want to just toss the potatoes around. And here you can see how undone they are. After 45 minutes, they're still completely rock hard. but you want to toss them through so you evenly kind of coat them and almost baste them in the liquid that's in the bottom of the pan. This is to prevent the tops of the sweet potatoes from getting weird and leathery and dried out. So another 45 minutes has gone by. This is now an hour and a half of total cook time. And same thing, we're just gonna pull them out and we're gonna go ahead and toss them one more time. And here you can see they're still pretty hard. Sweet potatoes kind of stay like that. They're very hard up until they're not, and then they turn to mush. Back in the oven for 45 more minutes. And we'll just keep tossing, keep turning. The syrup in the bottom of the tray is, I guess, turning into syrup. It's no longer, it's getting thick, it's starting to evaporate. And that means that it's time to put these in for one last round of just 30 minutes. So with the final 30 minutes come and gone, we now have our finished candied sweet potatoes. You can see that they're very soft, but not too soft. You don't want to cook these into mush. You want them to have just a little bit of texture, a little bit of firmness, something to bite into. I think it makes them taste a lot better rather than them just cooking down into nothingness. So go ahead and get them plated. Don't forget to drizzle some of that delicious syrup from the bottom. It's got that wonderful maple sriracha flavor. And as always, I thank you for watching. Please like, favorite, comment, and subscribe for more content every week. I've got one more Thanksgiving special video coming your way next week.